Hello. I'm going to use this lecture to complicate our ideas of genre by considering a couple of border cases that seem to combine genres in ways that play with our expectations as readers. If we think of genre distinctions as a kind of map of literary territories, then we can imagine works that fit well within those literary territories. We can think of poems that clearly fit in the category of poems, or we can think of plays that clearly act as plays. They are good citizens of those territories and live well within them. But what do we do with works that live on the border between these territories, on the line between the land of poems and the land of stories, or the nation of comedy and the nation of tragedy? How do our genre expectations help us read these works? For example, we might think about the line between prose and poetry. As I've mentioned before, I see poetry as the kind of literature that pays attention to the physical aspects of words, such as sound. Prose, on the other hand, focuses on the meanings of words without much regard for those physical aspects. Poetry will pay more attention to properties like alliteration or rhyme or rhythm, and prose will pay more attention to denotative meanings of words as we find them in the dictionary. This seems like a pretty clear distinction until we start thinking about free verse. It has the freedom from meter and rhyme that prose has, but it also pays attention to the physical aspects of words in the way that poetry does. This combination leads us to questions about how we should read such works. Do we read them with attention to their prose meanings, as if we're reading a story, trying to get information? Or do we read them as if they're poems, as if we're trying to get emotions from the way words work together in our minds? These questions, I believe, reveal the usefulness of border cases. These cases help us consider what we do when we read. They help us think about what we expect from any particular work of literature, and whether we're getting that or whether we're getting something else that we didn't expect. We can also see a border case in Waiting for Godot, which labels itself on its first page as a tragicomedy, so we can assume the play lives on the border between tragedy, where protagonists meet sad fates, and comedy, where protagonists get happy endings. This throws us as readers into some confusion immediately, because we don't really know how to see the characters of the play. What do the protagonists have in store for them? We don't know, because we don't know whether to expect a sad fate or a happy ending. And I suspect Beckett wants us to feel this confusion. I get the impression he wants us to think about the absurd way that life combines these two opposing genres, so he creates a silly-sounding word that pushes the ideas together. The border state that Waiting for Godot occupies might help us think about the ambiguous world we try to comprehend through literature. When we consider these border cases, we give ourselves a chance to ask more questions about the literature we read. We can think about the expectations that a genre can lead us to, and then we can think about how confusing those expectations helps us understand a work's relation to other works and to life. Genre helps us understand what to expect from a work, but a work in a border case gives us the complicating notion that genre might limit our understanding, and so we can add to our understanding of literature and the world by considering cases that fit in too many territories, or perhaps too few. In any case, and as always, thank you for your time and attention.